The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Sedona Fire, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 38871. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation. Starting first at the front bumper. Just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks, direct pull, 6,000 pounds. Moving up onto the face of the front bumper, dual air horns. Located on the passenger side, a mechanical siren. Located in the center area, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving up to the bumper extension area, you'll find a storage location for your front bumper hose, dry deck, and also Velcro tie downs. On the outer edge, you'll find a marker turn indicator. Just inside that location on the face, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Just above that, emergency warning lights. As we move to the windshield, there are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. And as we move to the outer edge of the A-pillar, you'll find the mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. To the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights, and located in the very center, forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the roof of the cab, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Also within inside the light bar in the center is your opticom. Moving directly above the emergency warning light bar is your spotlight, controlled from within inside the cab area. We'll start now with a full view of the apparatus, and then we'll start in with the cab section, starting first with your front axle, where you'll find Goodyear tires and Alcoa wheel and a visual sight gauge indicator. As we move to the bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Moving up onto the cab, you'll find the marker turn indicator light. Easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are your door lock and latch. They are keyed. Right next to that is the grab handle on both front and rear cab for gaining entry and exit into the cab. You'll also find a lower zone emergency warning light. Just up from that, you'll find your shoreline inlet auto eject. As we move up to the very rear portion of the cab area, you'll find an LED water tank level indicator. As we move to the midsection, we'll come back to this area in just a few moments. Let's start first with the rear body, where you'll find just in front of the rear axle a marker turn indicator light. There are 2 pan doors located here. We'll cover those in just a few moments. Also an emergency warning light, part of the lower zone. And as we move up to the very top section into the hatch area, you'll find 2 side-facing floodlights, along with a rear emergency warning light side mount. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus, where you'll find your brake, turn, and reverse lights. Also just inside that location, an emergency warning light, part of the lower emergency warning light. As we move up, you'll find your ladder for gaining access to go aloft. Also an additional emergency warning light, and just above that, a work light. At the very top section, you'll find an emergency warning light. Moving down to the D handle gains you access into the rear storage location with a roll-up compartment door, also a recessed backup camera, along with just slightly to the left a 2.5-inch rear discharge. You'll also find the D handle in the upper right. This is access for your ground ladders. And then also there are 2 access points in the upper portion for long-handled tool storage. In the very center, your traffic advisor, and to the very far right, a rear-facing scene light. Let's move around to the passenger side of the vehicle, full view. And then we'll focus in on the rear body section. Same configuration and layout. Moving now to the pump panel area. We'll come back to this in great detail. And then moving on to the cab section. Let's go ahead and move back to the front bumper area. We'll identify a few more items. First, on the bumper extension. Just inside the front bumper is where you'll find your storage location, swivel discharge, dry deck material, and then also the Velcro tie downs. Moving around to the side of the vehicle, and we'll now move into the driver's space. Let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, window control for all 4 windows, and a grab handle. At the base of the seat, you'll find when plugged into Shoreline Power, the auto charge battery monitor system will be activated. As we move to about the right ankle of the operator, you'll find your yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This also houses the VIN number and all of the components for each fluid and fluid capacity. As we move to about the left knee of the operator, master battery switch, quarter turn, engine, transmission, and J1939 diagnostic port, along with some switches for ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit. Moving to the upper portion, you'll find the indicator for stationary to pump and roll, water pump, and foam pump activation. On the left, start and ignition switch just inside that location, EM, which stands for emergency master, headlight switch, and a panel switch allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. Onto the opposite side of the steering column, the OK to engage your high idle indicator and switch. As we move to the dash, you'll find your transmission, oil, def level, and water temp. On the right, volts, fuel, front air, and rear air. Tachometer and speedometer are located directly in the center. Diagnostic information will display in the tally lights and also display screen down in the lower portion in the center. Moving just to the right, we'll start first by identifying a few items within this space, starting at the very top with your traffic advisor. As we move down, a few switches located here. First, we'll start on the left, siren horn switch, air horn or electric horn, mechanical siren, siren brake, cab locks down, not engaged, and P3 door. Also push to apply windshield wiper fluid and rotate for windshield wipers. Also on the switches we have an engine brake on and off, settings for low, medium, and high, mirror heat, a load manager, tire chains activated indicator, and then also a protected switch, which is the tire chains. Moving further down, pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. The yellow diamond is your rear spring brakes. To the right, Allison transmission pad, push button, digital readout, informational note to pump and neutral, along with some caution information to the right. Moving to the rear portion and downward, you'll find your flat mirror and convex mirror control for both passenger and driver mirror. Climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. To the right, you'll find your unit radio, and then also 12-volt access just to the right of this location for barrel style and USB-A style. Overhead, you'll find this yellow placard on the far left indicating the height of the vehicle, 9 feet 9 inches, length 30 feet 9.7 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 45,000 pounds. Also, emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Let's move just to the right of this location, additional switch panel for high beam flash and opticom. Moving further to the right, front scene, driver scene, passenger scene, rear scene, and perimeter lights. Digital pump readout, water and foam level indicators. In the center, you'll find your display for your cameras. And then also as we move to the very top section, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green in the seat and belted, along with a red flashing light indicating do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment or door open. Air conditioning unit with vents located in the very top section and also to the rear of the apparatus. There are 2 forward-facing seats and also 2 forward-facing EMS compartments. Moving to the rear of the driver's seat, you'll find the handle for your manual cab tilt and then also 12-volt access via negative and positive studs. Let's move exterior now. Directly behind the entry door is where you'll find an additional door for access, adjustable shelf, LED lighting, and inside the compartment you'll find access via 12-volt. Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel, visual sight gauge. Now moving into the rear portion of the cab area, let's start first with the door panel, the fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, electric window control, and a grab handle. Overhead, push on and off white or red lens lights, your air conditioning unit, and also speakers for your AM/FM radio. As we move into the space, let's start first with just a general view. 2 forward-facing seats, and then also the 2 forward-facing EMS compartments. As we move to the center section, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style, along with, at the center portion, the access location for your daily checks for oil and transmission. General view here toward the rear again. And let's take a look in those exterior compartments here on the outside. Adjustable shelving, roll-up compartment doors, dry deck material, and then also inside those compartments you'll find 12-volt access. Let's go ahead and move now to the exterior. Shoreline inlet, 20 amp auto eject. As we move into the pump panel area, we'll start at the very top section with the cross lay and dead lay. On the left, you'll find the dead lay. Right, you'll find your 2.5-inch discharge foam capable. Also entanglement hazard because those lines coming from aloft, the possibility of entanglement. As we move down, there are 2 locations here. Cross lay for lower section, both foam capable. As we move into the pump panel area, we'll start in the upper left-hand corner, starting first with your 2.5-inch discharge locally controlled via ball valve. An additional 2.5-inch locally controlled via the ball valve. As we move just to the right of this location, Pierce logo, American flag eagle, large diameter pump inlet, and then also a warning placard indicating pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure. Also additional warning, foam failure, do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. This is your foam lever for draft or tank, and then just to the right, this is the foam inlet. Moving down from this location, you'll find all the color-coded and labeled discharges. As we move to the right, you'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch female, locally controlled at the ball valve, along with a warning, fall hazard when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face it, along with air outlet and air inlet. Let's move now to the lower portion where you'll find a fold-out step. This is connected to the do not move your apparatus. As we move to the pump panel area, you'll find if your pump has been properly engaged in the cab, that light will be illuminating. To the left, we have a pump intake gauge. This is the master gauge. And then to the right, you'll find your master pump discharge gauge. In between the two of those, cascade ports for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. Also, you'll find a PCM fault indicator, visual, and also an audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate to increase or decrease sound level. All of our color-coded and labeled discharges are located here, red indicating foam capable. To the right, primer for your fire pump, push to prime air, 1000 RPMs for best practices. This is your pressure throttle governor. Also inside that embedded is the tank level indicator for your water tank. Tank fill and recirculating line, tank to pump, and as we move to the right, you'll find your deluge discharge. There are 2 electric valves on this truck, both on the passenger side, the number 2 discharge 2.5 inch, and also your large diameter discharge. As we move to the right, you'll find the green module. This is your foam level tank A. And then to the right, the red module is your Husky foam system, instructions on the placard for its operation, along with specifications and operating instructions. Also, as we move down to the very bottom, this is for your intercom plug-in for the headset, and then also a push-to-talk for that headset. Let's move just slightly down on the same pump panel. You'll find a warning placard indicating only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. Across the bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move just to the right, you'll find a pan door for access behind the pump panel. There are instructions for its operation. This is the foam lever for fill or operational use. Also, the manual pump shift override, a protected switch, is located in that area. Minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi test pressures. Associated GPM on the left, associated RPM on the right. Govern speed while in pump mode, 2,400 RPMs. Let's take a look at some of the compartments now. First, starting with 2 SCBA bottle storage locations. Pull out and tilt downward trays. Those SCBA bottle storage locations do have retaining straps. As you move to the rear axle, Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel. Just underneath this space, you'll also find the air tank drains. Let's move to the rear of the axle, where you'll find your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. It's the silver cap. As we move the flap downward, it exposes the 8.0 US gallon DEF tank. Moving further to the rear, additional compartment here, we have adjustable shelving, pull-out tray, and then also a pull-out tool board. Release for the tool board located on the lower right-hand side, and release for the tray also on the lower right-hand side. All compartments open now on the driver's side of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and move around to the rear. We have all compartments open also. We'll identify a few items within this area. First, starting for your rigid hose storage for suction, long-handled tool storage, movable hose bed dividers. There are 3. Warning placard indicating entanglement hazard because of the lines coming from aloft, the possibility of entanglement. Also, warning placard, pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure, be cautious when opening them. Also, warning fall, when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. And also, warning fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while the vehicle is in motion. As we move to the rear center compartment, this is capable of withstanding a firefighter's weight. Also a pull-out tray release located on the lower right-hand side. As we move up, we have long-handled tool storage along with a 10-foot folding attic ladder, 24-foot extension, and 14-foot roof ladder. Rear scene light, which is a cupped switch. As we move around to the passenger side of the vehicle, we'll start identifying a few items within this area. Adjustable shelf and also pull-out tray. The tray release mechanism located on the lower right-hand side. Overwheel compartment, adjustable shelf. SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles with retaining straps to the rear along with an oxygen bottle. In addition to the forward section, you'll also find 2 SCBA bottles. As we move into the rear axle, once again, Goodyear tires and Alcoa wheels. Just down from this location is your exhaust. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious when conducting a regen and be careful where you park your vehicle. As we move into the forward compartment, adjustable shelving. In this compartment in the upper portion, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style. Moving now into the pump panel area, we'll start first with the cross lay section. Once again, upper cross lay, dead lay, and also 2.5 inch foam capable, along with a warning indicating entanglement hazard. As we move down to the bottom, we have 2.5 inch discharges. into the pump panel area. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner with the cab lift. There are instructions for its operation to raise and also lower, and also some caution and danger placard information, along with your American flag Eagle Pierce logo, large diameter pump inlet. Moving just to the right, you'll find a warning placard, pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure. Because those valves are considered electric, therefore they do need an override. This is the override location for that discharge. Let's move downward on the pump panel, where we'll find a warning placard regarding fall hazard. When climbing on or off, always face the vehicle. Also color-coded and labeled discharges on this side of the pump panel. Once again, there is an electric valve for the large diameter discharge, and this is the override associated with that large diameter discharge. Fold-out step, once again, tied to the do not move your apparatus if it's open. We'll now move into the rear cab section, starting first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information, also door lock and latch combination, electric window and grab handle. Overhead, push on and off white and red lens lights, air conditioning unit, and also, as we move now into the rear portion, forward-facing seats into those EMS compartments forward-facing. There is 12-volt access, and in the lower portion we have 2 handheld flashlights. Just behind the officer seat is where you'll find your main radio. Moving now into the storage location directly behind the officer seat. Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge into that center axle area. We're now moving into the officer space, so affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placards, along with electric window control, door lock and latch combination, and a grab handle. As we move in, your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system. On the right-hand side is the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Also a warning here suggesting information about the supplemental restraint system. As we move in, we have an air horn, siren brake, and mechanical siren, and also push to talk. You'll find this red and white candy cane label indicating spare wiring throughout the vehicle. Please do not remove until your maintenance team has had an opportunity to address that option. As we move overhead, this is in the officer space. Let's start first on the far right-hand side with the control module for the Go light, which is your spotlight on the top of the vehicle. Also the front scene, driver scene, passenger scene, and P3 door switches. Electronic siren and PA control. Moving further to the left, you'll find your AM/FM weather band radio, Sirius XM. Additional speaker here for your main radio. All compartments are open now. Let's go ahead and move up onto the upper portion or top section of the vehicle. First at the cab area, we have some indicators that this is a non-walking surface. As we move into the dunnage area, you'll find this is the storage location for your Husky 3 foam system, and then also top storage or fill locations for foam and water tank. Into the dunnage area, you'll find the master stream device and then also your Husky foam system module. As we move over to the side hatch compartments, 2 on the forward section, 2 on the rear section. As we move to the forward section hatch area, this is the dunnage section that has the water tank and also foam fill. The rest of the images are going to be that of the engine and chassis area. We're now on the driver's side frame rail area. I'd like to point out when the cab has been fully lifted, both equal right and left pressure are on the cylinders, please go ahead and place this safety bar into position. Although, do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure in both right and left cab cylinders. As we move into identifying a few items within the engine space, we'll start at the very forward section. The fill location and sight gauge for your radiator. Just to the opposite side, you'll find a reservoir. This is for overflow. As we move to the rear portion, you'll find the power steering fluid reservoir with a sight gauge and dipstick, along with your transmission and oil dipsticks. As we move further toward the rear on the driver's side frame rail, you'll find the batteries located on this side. Underneath the battery box is where you'll find the negative and positive jumper studs. You'll also find to the rear the reservoir for the hydraulic fill. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. Congratulations, Sedona Fire, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.